Hey, amazing people. It's Tracy Lene, and I am finally back. The power of now. Here's the thing. Whenever you try to stay in the now moment, your old habits try to come up and bring you back into the past to keep you stuck because everything wants to live. Your old habits, they want to live. They don't want to die. I allowed some of my old habits of procrastinating on things that I know I needed to get done delay me from doing something that I want to do, which is to read this book, The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment. Now, the great part about it is I was staying in the now moment more than I have been before, but I allowed myself to let past hurts or disappointments or fears to surface, and I had to keep meditating to get back to the now, and I wasn't in the space where I could read a lot of times, or I, teach school, so I had a lot of lesson plans to do. And if you procrastinate or if you get behind just a little bit because of any little thing, then I was falling behind. Anyway, no more excuses. I want this. I want to read. I want to allow myself to utilize the talent that God has given me to grow my YouTube channel. So like, share, subscribe. The wonderful thing is I have been doing, I think I told you guys, I bought the walking pad. And I have 3 blocks that I teach, and then you have a planning block. 20 minutes of the first, the beginning of each block is their warm up, and I get on the walking track, and I've been very successful, and I've done it every day that we've been in school, 20 minutes. Sometimes I can't stay on the full 20 minutes if I have to go deal with something a child is doing, but for the most part, it's been 20. And if I couldn't stay on for that 20 minutes, then I would make it up in the next block. But I've been very successful, and some of the weight is dropping. I was a size 16, now I'm in a size 14. My original size is a size 8. So if I'm in a 14, if I continue, then I'll get to that size 8. The boobs is still boobing though. And the waist is still a little thicker. However, I'm in a 14, so that's progress. And that's literally with just getting on the walking pad, no less than 60 minutes a day. Mostly I do 80 minutes a day on the walking pad at a level 3.0 because I don't want to sweat. I'm just walking while they're doing their warm up. I'm warming my body up, and I got to buy a fan because it's I'm just like fanning myself, but I'm going to get a fan. Anyway, let's get to this. Thank you guys for listening that far. We're at 2 minutes and I haven't even started, but I wanted to catch you up. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Like, share, subscribe. What I've learned with all that's going on in the world is to just be your authentic self and allow life to unfold, because it's going to unfold. Things are going to happen. I'm going to give you one more thing today, and then I'm going to start reading. I was sleepy because we were off yesterday, and I ended up not going to bed until later, which I should have done that the night before, but I didn't. Anyway, I went to bed at like 1 o'clock. I had to get up at 5. So I was kind of tired today. My tea was kicking in. But when I was on my planning break, I said, my God, I would love some chocolate. It will pick me up because my 4th block, they're 6th graders and they can be kind of busy. And we're working on, that's my keyboarding class, teaching them to type. And sometimes I'm just talking to them so much. Anyway, I said it like twice, and I asked one of my colleagues, do you have any chocolate? And he said, I think I got a little bit. So when we were leaving out, I went to get a piece of chocolate from him. But anyway, when my 4th block started, another teacher, she knocks on the door. And she said, can I see you outside? I'm thinking, oh God, what has one of my students done? So I go out because I know she's a 6th grade teacher. If I'm teaching them, then she's probably to tell me something. And she bought me a Twix bar and some M&Ms, and she had a Snickers bar too. And so I'm like, oh, I could just pick one. She said, no, take 2, and I'll just take the other one. So you see, I asked for something, and it came. That's abundance. I wanted that chocolate, and the chocolate came. Anything you want, it's yours. Now let's get to the power of now. Mind strategies for avoiding the now. Loss of now, the core delusion. And this is the question someone asks. Even if I completely accept that ultimately time is an illusion, what difference is it going to make in my life? I still have to live in a world that is completely dominated by time. And Eckhart responds, intellectual agreement is just another belief, and it won't make much difference to your life. To realize this truth, you need to live it. When every cell of your body is so present that it feels vibrant with life, and when you can feel that life every moment as the joy of being, then it can be said that you are free of time. The question again, but I still have to pay the bills tomorrow, and I'm still going to grow old and die just like everybody else. So how can I ever say that I am free of time? Eckhart responds, Tomorrow's bills are not the problem. I'm going to say that again. Tomorrow's bills are not the problem. The disillusion of the physical body is not the problem. Loss of now is the problem. Or rather, the core delusion that turns a mere situation, event, or emotion into a personal problem and into suffering. Loss of now is loss of being. To be free of time is to be free of the psychological need of the past for your identity and future for your fulfillment. It represents the most profound transformation of consciousness that you can imagine. In some rare cases, this shift in consciousness happens dramatically and radically, once and for all. When it does, it usually comes about through a total surrender in the midst of intense suffering. I'm going to say that sentence again because this is how I came to come to now. It says, in some cases, this shift in consciousness happens dramatically and radically, once and for all. When it does, it usually comes about through the total surrender in the midst of intense suffering. Most people, however, have to work at it. When life handed me the toughest situation that I had ever faced, I had to surrender. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do. I could barely. That's why the name of this channel is Breathing Underwater. I had to learn to breathe underwater. In that situation, I had to surrender. I surrendered religion. I surrendered the way people said that marriage is supposed to be. I surrendered the way people said parenting is supposed to be. I surrendered everything I knew. I totally let go. And it's song, Max, that's why in my journal, the first line is from Maxwell's song, I was reborn when I was broken. I was broken down to the lowest place I'd ever been. And I had to let go. That was the time I came into now. Whew. When you have had your first few glimpses of the timeless state of consciousness, you begin to move back and forth between the dimensions of time and presence. First, you become aware of just how rarely your attention is truly in the now. But to know that you are not present is a great success. I started to recognize that I was living in the past, that I was replaying situations, the situation that broke me, I was replaying it, I was reliving it, I was literally it. But time was moving on. It wasn't a long period of time before I realized, okay, Tracy, you're stuck in the past. And I kept trying to get out of it, but because I didn't have the proper tools, it's like if you're building something and you need the Phillips head, but you have the flat head, you're not going to be able to do it. You need the proper tools. I got the proper tools when I just surrendered. And the universe started bringing, the first thing the universe did is move religion out of the way. Said, nope, this is not going to help you. And I'm not judging anybody who's religious. But my relationship to spirit, I now know that I am the universe having a human experience. I'm not a human in the universe. I am the universe, and I'm having a human experience. And in that human experience, I experience ebb and flow. And it's not good or bad. It just is what it motherfucking is. And that situation broke me. But I needed to be broken. Because once it broke me, I've made so many changes in my life. And even to the point where being heavier, I used to think bad of myself when I was a little girl and I was chubby. Now I'm like, girl, you look good. You're going to drop the weight for health's sake and get back in some of the clothes you got. But I'm not like living in a space of, oh my God, I'm chubby. No, I look good. But I need to be more healthier. All right. Where was I at? Then, let's go back. That knowing is present, even if it initially only lasts for a couple of seconds of the clock time before it's lost again. Sorry about that. Then with increasing frequency, you choose to have the focus of your consciousness in the present moment rather than in the past or the future. And whenever you realize that you have lost the now, you are able to stay in it, not just for a couple of seconds, but for longer periods as perceived from the external perspective of clock time. So before you are firmly established in the state of presence, which is to say, before you are fully conscious, you shift back and forth for a while between consciousness and unconsciousness, between the state of presence and the state of mind identification. You lose the now and you return to it again and again. Eventually, presence becomes your predominant state. And that's where I can say I live, in the present moment predominantly. When the past comes up, I have a few things I do. One, I say, okay, what is it that you want to tell me? What did I miss that you feel like I need to know right now? Most times it's like, nothing. I just need somebody to salk wood. You don't want to salk? No, I don't. It's done. I've experienced what I need to experience with that. And now I'm moving on. You can come with me or you can stay in the past. Up to you. That's what I do. Or if it hits me, I get triggered by something. Like I pluck my chin hairs a whole lot. And it came to me, the reason why I do that, like I panic if there's a chin hair. When I was a little girl, I was at church and there was this woman, she had a full beard. And she used to scare me because she was a woman, but she let her beard and this part all grow in. And it used to scare me. And I thought, what if that happens to me? And so when I started getting chin hairs, I thought, oh my God, it's going to happen to me. And so I became obsessive with plucking the chin hairs. Now, that's a condition that women have, and some choose to shave it and some don't. But when you're 7 years old and you see that, it's kind of scary because you know it's a woman. She has on a dress, she has on makeup. But it can scare you as a child. Now, I'm 56 years old. I see women with POC. It is what it is. They shave, they don't. That's their business. I don't like chin hairs, but I know that it connects to that memory. Now that I've released that memory, I still pluck the chin hairs, but I pluck it from a state of, I just don't want them. Not, oh my God, am I going to look like that? And there's nothing wrong with that. All right, what was I at? For most people, presence is experienced either never at all or only accidentally and briefly on rare occasions without being recognized for what it is. Most humans alternate not between consciousness and unconsciousness, but only between different levels of unconsciousness. Most people do that. Ordinary unconsciousness and deep unconsciousness. And then the question is, what do you mean by different levels of consciousness? Eckhart responds, as you probably know, in sleep, you constantly move between the phases of dreamless sleep and in the dream state. Similarly, in wakefulness, most people only shift between ordinary unconsciousness and deep unconsciousness. What I call ordinary unconsciousness means being identified with your thought processes and emotions, your reactions, desires, and aversions. It is most people's normal state. In that state, you are run by the egoic mind and you are unaware of being. It is a state not of acute pain or unhappiness, but of an utmost continuous low level of unease, discontent, boredom, or nervousness, a kind of background static. You may not realize this because it is so much a part of the normal living, just as you are not aware of a continuous low background noise, such as the hum of an air conditioner, until it stops. When it suddenly does stop, there's a sense of relief. Many people use alcohol, drugs, sex, food, work, television, or even shopping as anesthetics in an unconscious attempt to remove the basic unease. I have used sex, food, work, television, and shopping. I didn't do alcohol and drugs, but I've used sex to dull myself in years. I have used food to dull it. I have worked to dull it. I have watched television, and I have shopped to make it that. And I remember when I stopped all of that I saw Paramaganda Yohanda. I'm probably saying it wrong. Forgive me. Your spirit forgive me. But it is Indian mystic that said, no, couldn't have been Indian mystic because there was no malls. I think I was reading a book and somebody was paraphrasing. What you are looking for cannot be found in the mall. Couldn't have been that because that was too long ago. But I don't know where it came from, but I ain't make it up. What you are looking for is not in the mall. That statement helped me to stop shopping. I was at something like 200 pair of shoes, and I just didn't want to face what was in front of me, and that is that I chose someone that had low character to marry. Because then I thought, well, if I chose this low character person to marry, then that means I have low character. No, it means that I'm a trusting soul, and I was shown something different for long enough for me to believe it. And for whatever reason, he chose to make a situation in his life that greatly affected me and showed that he has low character. But I decided that my children needed their father, and he didn't do anything to them in my mind. He didn't do anything to them. And I had experienced knowing someone whose husband had molested their daughter, and I thought, I ain't getting another husband because I know this one don't do that. So I allowed myself to go through a lot of stuff based upon looking and searching for the truth in all of the wrong things. So I'm not going to get all into my life yet. I might one day, because it's not that thing where I'm gossiping my business. I'm sharing because I am in the stages of ending a marriage, and I'm not scared. I've been through that. I'm not even scared. It takes time, but I'm not scared. I'm looking forward to what life has to offer me, but at the same time, I forgive myself for what I allow to be. And I recognize that people are multifaceted, and that you can be good to one person and terrible to the other. You can show up and people can trust you because of one thing, but then you can't be trusted in another. You have to decide what that means for you. I know what it means for me now. All right. Where was I at? When this happens, an activity may be very enjoyable, but if used in moderation, it becomes imbued with a compulsive or addictive quality, and that is all that is ever achieved through its extremely short-lived symptoms of relief. I gotta read that again because I read that sentence all wrong. So let's back up. When this happens, an activity that might be very enjoyable, if used in moderation, becomes imbued with a compulsive or addictive quality, and all that is ever achieved through it is extremely short-lived symptom release. And that's how I ended up with over 200 pair of shoes and a wardrobe. And I'm not trying to brag, but a wardrobe that was at least 10 to 15 grand for a wardrobe. I ended up with that because I did not want to face what I needed to face. So I just buried myself in stuff. And then I would eat and exercise. So exercise was an addiction for me too. Or I would teach 5 or 6 yoga classes in a day, which I'm grateful for yoga, because yoga did save me from my mind going absolutely insane, because I allowed somebody else's character flaws to be my fault, and it's never your fault. The unease of ordinary unconsciousness turns into the pain of deep unconsciousness, a state of more acute and more obvious suffering or unhappiness. When things go wrong, when the ego is threatened, or there is a major challenge, threat, or loss, real or imagined, in your life situation or conflict in a relationship, it is an intensified version of ordinary unconsciousness, different from it, not in kind, but in degree. So you have degrees of things, like there is just temperature. Hot and cold are just varying degrees of temperature. Temperature is temperature. It can be hot or it can be cold, not two separate things. And if you study the Hermetic principles, where, there's 7 of them, and the first, that mental one, where if you think it in your mind, that's what you're going to have. So I believe that I didn't deserve to be treated well. I didn't deserve to be loved properly. And so I had to bring that into my life so I could see it and then go, oh, the hell I don't. I deserve that. And that may be what you have to do. If you continue to do it over and over again, you might want to look deeper into it to see if it's something that you need to get some deep therapy for, and there's something wrong with therapy at all. But you might need to get a little bit more help. You may not be able to do it with breathing and meditation and becoming self-aware. And it's okay. Whatever you need, you need. But this is the power of now. And I'm going to go because it's been 20 minutes. And if you listen this long, I feel grateful for that. And I'm kind of navigating how I want to tell my story, because it is my story and it does involve others. And I do believe that when you're involving others in your story, you're careful, because we have this tendency to judge people based upon what we would or would not do. And we're doing that now with the whole Sean Combs situation, where, oh, he's a monster. And I don't know the truth. I don't know the full truth. What I do know is Michael Jackson didn't molest those children, and they said he did and made it seem like he did. And then when he died, the children came forth and said he molested us. I'm not saying I saw what Sean Combs did to Cassie, and that's horrible. I saw that. I don't know the extent of all, but he's not even being tried for the Cassie thing because that's kind of like he paid for that. I do believe that the people that set him up to be who he is got pissed at him for whatever. I don't know what he did, but they pissed, and now they're airing all his stuff. And I do believe it's time for this industry to change because the music is filthy, and it's bringing people in a space where they don't show love for one another. Everybody just want to shoot each other, or every woman just wants to throw her body around like it's not sacred for money, all of that stuff. So I think it's good that the whole Hollywood, the movies, all of it, it's time for it to just come crashing down and something new to be built in the ashes. But I'm not going to judge him because I don't know what's true and what's not, and I don't judge people anymore. I've gotten to the space where as soon as I'm about to, I'm going to go, girl, who are you? You ain't qualified to judge him. Not in a way that I think I'm not good enough, but in a way that I think I'm too good to judge people. I'm too good to judge because I'm in this space where everything is great. Anyway, I will be back on Sunday with The Power of Now. I'm going to commit myself to that. It's a really good book. It really is. And we got some ways to go. And then I'm going to try to revamp to see if I want to just be the person that takes a chapter or two of each book and just read that book that week and then switch on and you get the rest of the book, maybe something to get you interested in it. Or if I want to read the entire book, I'm not sure. I'm going to meditate on it to see, but I know I'm not going anywhere. And I thank you for your time. You have an amazing night. Like, share, subscribe.